To present this year's Tom Roe Award, please welcome Paul Jacob.
Tracy, thank you very much. That was the other Washington, by the way, not this Washington. I'm not sure how well liked I am here. This is good. I have to say that it is a supreme honor to introduce the man we honor tonight with the Tom Roe Award. I have to say that John Tillman has sure done well, especially when we consider that he's someone who doesn't know anything about politics. Now, that's sort of an inside joke, and I guess it's not so inside anymore. When John first made the jump from business entrepreneur to nonprofit political entrepreneur, there were times where we might discuss things, and if someone didn't like the strategy or tactics that John was suggesting, the rap on John was that he just doesn't have the experience in politics, the knowledge. Well, John didn't have maybe as much experience in politics as some. But as a person who loves term limits, let me just suggest that experience is overrated. What has made John successful in politics, in the nonprofit pro-freedom world, is precisely the same attributes that made him successful in the business world. Now, he's run up some awfully good numbers at the Illinois Policy Institute. And of course, he'd be the first to tell you that he hasn't run up those numbers alone. But since 2007, when John took over the Illinois Policy Institute, here's some of the highlights. They've gone from a staff of 2 to a staff of 18. Fundraising has increased 26-fold. Now, not 2-fold, not 5-fold, not 10-fold, 26-fold. The Institute has awarded grants to groups they work with that total 8 times the budget of the organization when John took over. In the last 6 months, they've had over 300 media appearances. Places like the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, television in Chicago. In fact, not too long ago, I remember seeing John debate the governor of Illinois on television in Chicago. But those are merely numbers, and they don't really represent what John and what the Institute have accomplished. Nor do they tell us how what they've accomplished has been accomplished. Anyone can hire more people if they have the fundraising skills to have the money to pay them. But John hired great people. He's had one of, I think, the most impressive group of individuals work for him, and not just at the Policy Institute. I worked for him once. In all seriousness, people with talent, with character, with quality, like working for John Tillman because he recognizes that it's a team effort, because he wants to move the freedom agenda ahead, not just stroke his own ego. I don't know where he gets that. The money raised and the attention gathered, though, are also not the end product. The end product is advancing liberty. So the fact that the Illinois Policy Institute has done such a bang-up job raising money, and building a quality staff and getting media attention isn't good enough. But they've done some other things too. For instance, they can take credit for stopping an income tax increase in both 2009 and 2010. That's $8 billion in the pockets of Illinois citizens instead of down a rat hole in Illinois government. They promoted a school voucher bill with their studies and with their media efforts that passed the Senate and came within votes of passing the House. More kids in Illinois today can go to a charter school to get a better education because the Institute worked to promote legislation that made it easier to start charter schools. There are now health savings accounts for state employees in Illinois because the Institute promoted that legislation. They've had all kinds of advances by passing legislation, again promoted by the Institute, for transparency. There are things now that citizens in Illinois can know, can find out, can talk about, and can change because the Institute was there to break ground, to tell the story, and to work to promote legislation that got passed. So how did they do it? Well, part of it is that John Tillman is a happy warrior. You know, I think of the old radical quote from Emma Goldman. She said, "If I can't dance, I don't want to be part of your revolution." Now, I don't know how much dancing they do at the Institute's office. And I'm not sure if we want Emma Goldman to be part of our revolution. In all seriousness, she passed away years ago, and now only votes in Illinois and occasionally in Wisconsin. But I remember talking to John many times on the telephone when he first started the Institute. And the thing that he would tell me most was how surprised, baffled he was by talking to people about freedom and having them tell John that it can't happen, that Illinois can't be changed, that the progressive philosophy was forever going to have a hold on that state. And John didn't believe it for a second. You know, I don't know who said this, but it's a great statement. And it's this: whether you believe you can do it or you believe you can't, you're right. John believes that freedom can sell, can triumph. And he gets up every day and does the hard work that belief, that leadership demands. And that's why they are being successful at the Illinois Policy Institute. You know, Abraham Lincoln, talk about Illinois, once said, "We are as happy as we decide to be." And if you think about that, there's a lot of truth to it. Well, let's take it a step further. We may be as free as we decide to be. John Tillman has decided he wants to be free, and he wants the people of Illinois to be freer. And he is making that happen. He's putting his ideas into action, and he's leading others to do the same. I am very, very proud to be his friend and ecstatic that we have an example like John to emulate, and that means that all of us can be freer in our states and throughout this country. John, congratulations. Please come up and let me give you the Tom Roe Award.